What's up, guys? Jason and Chris from Hard Money Bankers right back at you with a few tips and tricks. Today we're going to talk about managing virtual assistants, talk about where to find them, how to manage them, and what we do here internally at Hard Money Bankers where we utilize them. You know, obviously, pretty much any task out there, you can find someone virtually to do, and chances are they can do it better than you can do it, and
many
even
things.
cheaper.
Yeah, many things for sure.
You can even do it. So the first place is you got to find the virtual assistant. And you know, when you say virtual assistant, it's usually somebody outsourced. It can be in the United States or it can be out of the United States. You know, in the United States, usually the language barrier tends to be a little bit better, but you know, it's also a little bit more expensive.
For sure it is.
And the outsourced folks usually are significantly cheaper, and believe it or not, their skill levels, you know, are at least equal, if not better than local virtual assistants. Where have we found, you know, virtual assistants before? Like, what's usually some of the places that we've looked?
Elance, the popular one.
Yeah, lots of sites like that.
Elance, a good one. Guru.com.
Freelancer.com.
Freelancer.
And they're all free sites. And typically, what happens is you go in, you put in your project descriptions of exactly what you're looking for. It may be a specific project, or it may be just an ongoing employee type.
You want to touch on that for a second? What are the kinds of things that we have outsourced to virtual assistants?
Everything. Anything from data entry to design to website to coding to writing to video editing. I mean, pretty much everything. I mean,
really anything that's outside of your core competency, like what your top level activities are in your business. Obviously, you want to keep that, and you know, that's what you do best, and hold on to that. But many, many other things can be outsourced.
Yeah, and in the real estate business, you're usually not going to have an in-house employee that like knows web stuff or hosting or design. And I mean, you need marketing stuff regularly. You need creatives. You need logos, you need website stuff, you need content, blog posts, things like that, but you're not going to have somebody in there, you know, unless that's like their second skill set that has those specific skills. So it makes sense to just hire somebody on a project basis, or if you're doing enough of them like we do, have them actually as an employee, but just outsourced.
Right. Yeah, some of our people that were virtual assistants on an hourly basis or project basis have become full-time employees of ours.
That's right, because we've had enough work for them.
Right.
And obviously, you know, if it's a small amount of work and you want to pay them project based, or if you want to pay them a few bucks an hour, which is actually the going rate in some countries, you know, you can do so. And like, for instance, we're going to talk about in a second the people we use in-house, but one of them is a designer, because we do a lot of design work, and we pay this specific guy $200 a week, which is a little bit more than he can get elsewhere, and you know, works at his house in another country, not even sure what country he actually works out of in particular, but $200 a week, and he's available for us whenever we need him. You know, sometimes we don't have projects for him, but he's always there if there's an emergency on a project, and we just constantly keep him occupied with design work, you know, logos, flyers, brochures, updating website stuff, and everything. So it's really helpful. So that's kind of where you find them. You know, some of those sites, they're all free. You know, just a real quick tip, when you're hiring somebody on one of those, we usually do a test, so we can test a few different people at a time and, like, you know, split test them, and it's actually paid. You know, do a small project. If you want a designer, get them to do a few logos, pay them each a few dollars, because why not? Throw $25 at it and get four guys who you think are, you know, or gals who you think, you know, would meet the description, and test them all out to see who you like before you hire on the project. Small price to pay. We manage our people through a software called Asana.com, but there's a lot of those. There's Basecamp. There's a lot of different places that
project management software.
Project management software. It's all free. I mean, there's a paid version, but we just have the free one, and we just keep an ongoing tally of all the projects. You know, it's a project name, and then it's very descriptive, and then they check it off when it's done, and we double check the work, and we communicate through there, and it syncs back and forth with email on that. But it's a real organized place that myself or anybody in our operation can go and check of what's getting done.
Sure.
So it's a good way to manage them through there, keeps you organized. So real quick, I'm just going to spit off what we have outsourced, you know, virtual assistants inside our organization. So we have a designer, we have a video editor that, you know, after this video is shot, they'll do the editing on it. We have a writer, because writing content is so important, or doing any type of content is so important for businesses, but at the same time, it's very time consuming. So I'm not a good writer, so what I do is I do an audio file of what specifically I want to talk about. We send it to a writer, or one of our writers, and they write the article.
Yeah, that's probably a little trick or tidbit on that, is that the content is coming from us, just an audio version, and we don't want to do the keystrokes and formatting and making it into a proper written form. But the important part is it is our original content. It is coming from us, and that's one thing I probably wouldn't outsource. Is that you can't really have somebody, a virtual assistant, wherever, who doesn't work in your business every day, really speak for you intelligently.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, what else we have? We have coders and software developers. That's a little bit 2.1. That's 2.0. That's the next step for most companies. But we have some software interests, so we do that. WordPress, website, blogging, or blog sites, hosting, things like that do some of those. Anything else in particular? A guy that does a lot of data entry stuff or admin things. Like for instance, we may have a PDF that we need to turn into a Word doc, and he's doing some of that stuff, or he's taking something that we have on a whiteboard and turning it into a flow chart or things like that.
Let me ask you this. If you're a real estate investor, a one-man operation, looking to hire their first outsourced person, what do you think you'd give to them?
So two things. First off, I'd have a guy that can do some general marketing collateral, like flyers.
Okay. So a designer.
Yeah. Well, not necessarily a designer, but someone could do the basics of it. That would do like the flyers and like the admin of that stuff. That would do flyers, things like that. Maybe have some basic graphics, because you need to be marketing all the time with that. So you have flyers, brochures, website updates, things like that. And the second thing is someone probably that would do some sort of answering the phones or seller leads or something like that, like some sort of virtual assistant. We don't actually have that at Hard Money Bankers, but I know a lot of real estate investors that do. The phone call comes in and they're doing seller leads or intake forms or things like that.
Yeah.
So something like that. And most real estate companies in general, they're one or two man operations, so they rely on a lot of outsourced people because it's not the type of thing that you need 40-hour-a-week employee in-house, and it's just too dang expensive for that to begin with. So it makes sense to just, pay them on a project basis or on, an hourly basis as needed or something like that. And my last tip is make sure you take care of all of them, because they're extremely loyal, all of our virtual assistants. But if the plan is to pay them on Fridays, make sure you pay them on Fridays, because you got to treat them like an employee that's inside your office, even though they're out of your office, and treat them good. Really spend time on communicating, because that is a trick at the beginning. You have to learn how to communicate with them, and if you do, you'll have a very good, reliable team that you can count on. So check us out again, hardmoneybankers.com. If you need a strategy session, feel free to apply for a loan in Maryland, Virginia, DC, New Jersey, Pennsylvania. Maybe more states added soon. Check us later. Hard Money Bankers. Thanks.